Organization and Management. Instructor, Dr. Elizabeth Padillo. Behavioral Viewpoint, presented by Group 3, references from the Internet. Behavioral Viewpoint is divided into 4 parts. First is the Early Behaviorist by John B. Watson in the year 1878 to 1958. Watson believed that human behavior resulted from specific stimuli that elicited certain responses. Watson's basic premise was that conclusions about human development should be based on observation of overt behavior rather than speculation about subconscious motives or latent cognitive processes. One experiment is Little Albert used classical conditioning on Newman. So what is behaviorism? Behaviorism is a theory of learning based on the idea that all behaviors are acquired through conditioning, and conditioning occurs through interaction with the environment. Behaviorists believe that our actions are shaped by environmental stimuli. And so what was the goal of early behaviorists? Watson was a major proponent of shifting the focus of psychology from the mind to behavior, and this approach of observing and controlling behavior came to be known as behaviorism. A major object of study by behaviorists was learned behavior and its interaction with inborn qualities of the organism. And the following are 3 of the most famous early behaviorists: Ivan Pavlov, B.F. Skinner, and John Watson. Let's talk about Ivan Pavlov.
Early behaviorist Ivan Pavlov in the year 1849 to 1936. Pavlov did a famous experiment that demonstrates the theory of a classical conditioning. He is known for using dogs for a behavioral test. He used a bell to teach the dogs to know that food was being given, and this resulted in the dogs salivating while waiting for the food. This became known as a classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov's influence. Watson's work was based on the experiments of Ivan Pavlov, who had studied animals' response to conditioning. He became interested in the work of Ivan Pavlov and included a brief summary of Pavlov's works in his major works. Pavlov believed, as Watson's was later to emphasize, that humans react to stimuli in the same way.
And now, let's move on to the part 2 of the behavioral viewpoint, which is the Hawthorne study.
Hawthorne study. The Hawthorne effect is the modification of behavior by study participants in response to their knowledge that they are being observed or singled out for a special treatment. In the simplest terms, the Hawthorne effect is increasing output in response
to being watched.
Hawthorne study. The Hawthorne studies conducted in 1924 to 1933 made a number of practical, conceptual, and methodological innovation in human factors. The studies demonstrated that treating workers as an appendage to the machine is a flawed conceptual framework. The story of the Hawthorne studies in many ways is similar to the development of the HCI.
And now, here's the part 3 of the behavioral viewpoint. The Human Relations Movement.
Human Relations Movement refers to the researchers of organizational development who study the behavior of people in groups, particularly in workplace groups and other related concepts in fields such as industrial and organizational group psychology. It was founded by sociologists George Elton Mayo in the 1930s following a series of experiments known as the Hawthorne Studies, which focused on exploring the link between employee satisfaction, well-being, and workplace productivity.
And the last part of behavioral viewpoint is the behavioral science approach.
The behavioral science approach. The behavioral science approach to management focuses on the psychological and sociological processes, attitude, motivations, group dynamics that influence employee performance, while the classical approach focuses on the job of workers. The behavioral approach focuses on the workers in these jobs. Workers detested the formal and impersonal approach of classical writers. Behavioral approach started in 1930.
And this is the Maslow hierarchy of needs, consisting of 5 layers. According to the Wikipedia, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is an idea in psychology proposed by American psychologist Abraham Maslow in his 1943 paper A Theory of Human Motivation in the journal Psychological Review. Maslow subsequently extended the idea to include his observations of humans' innate curiosity. The first one is the physiological needs. These needs are related to the survival and maintenance of life. These include food, clothing, shelter, and etc. And the second layer is safety needs. These consist of safety against murder, fire, accident, security against unemployment, and etc. The third one is social needs. These needs include need for love, affection, belonging or association with family, friends, other social groups. And the fourth is ego or esteem needs. These are the needs derived from recognition status, achievement, power, prestige, and etc. And the last layer of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-fulfillment. It is the need to fulfill what a person considers to be his real mission of life.
Leader for today's video. Members of Group 3.